I've always been very clear that my top priority is the protection of the Buckinghamshire countryside and all of our farmland for the production of food and not for development. So it is through that lens that I rise to speak on a number of amendments that I think will make this horror show of a bill that tiny bit better. First of all, new clause 44 and new clause 53. 44 on sustainable drainage and 53 on stopping development on floodplains. I can think of so many examples in my constituency where development has either happened directly on the floodplain or has caused horrendous flooding concerns in communities. In Ickford, where the developer, their experts, said that flooding would be a once in 100 years eventuality in an area that flooded 6 times in 6 months, where I stood with the water lapping up at the top of my wellies before that development was built to try and make a point, and now those homes are built. Guess what? Worming Hall Road in Ickford, the houses that were there before, regularly flood. Likewise, the impact HS2 construction has had on flooding in Calvert Green. Calvert Green simply didn't flood before HS2 poured the concrete into the fields next door, and now, guess what? It does. Likewise, I support new clause 45 to stop planning permission in cases where illegal development took place. I can think of examples in my own constituency, in the village of Ascot, between Ascot and Longwick, where illegal development took place, yet the planning inspector has perversely now rewarded that bad behaviour by giving them planning permission. Bad behaviour should not be rewarded, and that new clause would stop it. Likewise, chalksteams, as others have spoken about, are incredibly important in Buckinghamshire, and I think new clause 87 to designate chalkstreams as protected sites is incredibly important. But the really big new clauses that I really want to spend a couple of minutes focusing on are new clause 43 around the protection of villages. Mid-Buckinghamshire is made up of many, many villages, some of which no longer can really be recognised as villages anymore. Hadnam, which has grown exponentially, now sees a threat of another 700 homes on top of a village that is struggling for infrastructure and isn't really a village anymore. Stoke Mandeville, 650 more homes proposed that would see it essentially merge with Wendover. This is unsustainable and challenging the rural identity of Buckinghamshire, and I strongly believe that those new protections should be put in place. But the big amendments that I have put down in my own name are new clause 51, which would stop all solar development and battery storage development on any grade of agricultural land. This is inefficient technology that is not going to solve the problems that we face as a country. The World Bank themselves have said that there's only one country anywhere in the world that is less suited to solar than the United Kingdom, which is Ireland. It is simply not an efficient technology to solve our energy crises. Small modular reactors, nuclear power is the answer, not trashing our countryside with solar and battery storage. And finally, new clause 55. And this is an appeal on the basis of fairness. My constituency has already suffered at the hands of big infrastructure, predominantly HS2, but other projects too. And I think it is that matter of fairness that where communities, against their will, have been forced to take these big, huge, massive infrastructure projects, where my constituents will live for more than 2 decades in a construction site, that those communities should be let off some of the other housing targets that are coming along, that should be let off that further unwanted development because they've already taken enough.